think I am live. Hello. Let me open something up here and have a quick look. Oh, I'm not sure if this is... Yes, I think I am actually appearing live. Live and in person. All the way from Burlington, Ontario. Burlington, Ontario, which is part of the GTA, which stands for the Greater Toronto Area, which I'm not far from Toronto. If I drove, which I don't, I could get into a vehicle and drive eastward and be in Toronto in a little less than an hour. Let's see here, your channel. I am looking like I'm live here. Whoops. That's a massive delay, as usual. I'm working on a little art project, and I started to do a stream a couple of days ago. And I was showing some things on the screen, talking about them, and realized that I had left this thing open with my big mug covering everything up that I'm talking about. So I'm going to try and not do that this time. I'm also eating popcorn, which all gets stuck in my teeth, so I'm like trying to pick it all out of my teeth with my tongue. We didn't need to know that. Anyway, this is just a little bit of an experiment tonight because it is 1:42 in the a.m. and my circadian rhythm is all fucked up. So because of my work, so I'm still wide awake at this time, and I'm working on some things. I'm working on something a little unusual, a little different, because I have kind of a bizarre sense of humor. And I had this idea, kind of a silly idea, after talking with a couple of friends of mine about some few things of general interest. And all of a sudden this idea sprung into my head for this silly movie poster. And before I show it to you, I kind of have to give a little bit of an explanation on what it is and why it exists, because you will only get the joke if you are familiar with Godzilla movies and Warner Brothers cartoons. You have to be very familiar with them. And I happen to be a fan of both growing up. I was a big fan of Godzilla movies. And I also loved Warner Brothers cartoons, Bugs Bunny and all that stuff. That's why I went into animation. Part of the reason why. That's another story. So, growing up watching Godzilla movies, I started with the old original ones. And there was a series of 15 movies in the original set in what they called the Showa series. The Godzilla movies are broken up into eras and given different names. And the first one from the original Godzilla to 1975, 54 to 75, is called the Showa era, and there's about 15 movies. Then there was a break for 9 years, and then they did Godzilla 84, which was Godzilla 85 in the US, and then there was another series of about 7 or 8 films that ended with Destroyer in 95, so it only went 10 years. Another break. Then that 98 disastrous film came out from the US. We all know that one, from TriStar. We don't talk about that. And then there was another series. Japan decided to do another series, and they called it the Millennium Series. And there was another 6 or 7 films on that. And that went from 1999 to 2005. And then they took another break again. Then the new Legendary film started. Anyways, that was a longer explanation than what was needed. So going back to the original set of films, though, the Showa era, it ended with those 15 films ended in 1974 and 1975 with 2 Mechagodzilla movies. They did 2 of them back to back. One was kind of sort of a sequel. Bugs in here. One was sort of a sequel to the other one. First one was just called Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, and then sequel was called The Terror of Mechagodzilla. At least that's the Americanized title. And I actually really liked the posters for those films. In particular, I like movie posters. I'm a big fan of movie posters, and that's why sometimes I like to do funny faux movie posters for things that don't exist. And I particularly liked the very last one, The Terror of Mechagodzilla. It's actually a cool poster that shows Godzilla facing Mechagodzilla with the Titanosaurus, which is the third monster, in the middle of it. And there's like a big tornado in the background and a lot of stuff going on. It's a very busy poster, but I like it. And this leads me to the second thing, why I'm doing this project. Because I was also a fan of Warner Brothers cartoons. I wasn't big on the Coyote and the Roadrunner. I watched them still. I like the design work. As far as like a cartoon character, I thought it was actually a cool design, especially for the Coyote. But it was the same thing kind of over and over and over again. In the 60s, I remember in the 60s they were kind of starting to cut back on their quality a little bit. But anyways, they had this one cartoon, and this is done in the 60s now, where the Coyote builds a giant robot coyote to try and catch the Roadrunner. When I first saw this cartoon, not till years later in the 70s, and I looked at it and I went, that looks weirdly familiar. That kind of looks like the Mechagodzilla from in the 70s. There only was those two films in the 70s at the time. That weirdly looks like Mechagodzilla. There was a lot of difference. It was really simplified. But if you look at the nose and kind of the shape, it really sort of in a weird way resembled it. It didn't, and it did. This was 10 years before, so I had to wonder if Toho based Mechagodzilla loosely after maybe seeing that cartoon. I don't know. Maybe it's just a coincidence. I think it's actually more likely a coincidence. So when I saw that, I had this weird idea of and the name of that cartoon that the Coyote was in was called the Solid Tin Coyote. It wasn't like Mecha Coyote or Robot Coyote. It was called Solid Tin Coyote. And so I was looking at the poster for Mechagodzilla. Let me see if I can bring this up. I'm going to leave this full screen for a minute. I'm going to unveil it in just a moment. Get this open because there's two versions of it. There's a Japanese and the American one. For the American film that they used for particularly the box cover for the VHS release back in the early 80s, they took the image and kind of reversed it, but they recreated the image. They didn't use the same one. They kind of recreated again. I'm going to show you this now. There's only way I can do this. I don't have two screens, and I wish I did, because otherwise I could just sort of snap to it, but I can't do it with just a single monitor, so I have to do it this way. So I'm going to reveal this so you can see my setup here. And I'm going to take you over to these two posters. So here they are. As you can see, the Japanese one, of course, is on the left, because in Japanese writing, and then the one on the right. And this is the Americanized one. And for reference, I'm going to flip this American one because I like the direction of the Japanese one here with the Mechagodzilla on the left. I think they flipped it because it's in America, North America, we read left to right, and Godzilla being the hero, quote unquote, should be our eyes pick up on first going that direction. But I'm going to flip this one back. I had it flipped earlier because what I'm working on, I want it the direction of this one. So anyway, this is a poster. I think these are really cool posters. I would love to actually get like a lobby card sized, like 11 by 17 print of the Japanese one. This I also think was made as a, what do you call it? Before the movie is released, because you can see Titanosaurus looks a bit silly. It doesn't look quite like this. The Americanized one, the film had already been out, so they used an actual image of Titanosaurus and they stuck it in here. But the one on the left, Mechagodzilla is the right one because it was a slight redesign. But the Titanosaurus, it looks like they just painted him in as opposed to using images See, Godzilla and Mechagodzilla are actual images. Anyways, I love these posters. I would really love to get a print of these. I'm going to take this one here on the right. I'm going to flip it back over because I want it this direction. But my silly idea was, I thought, what if I took this poster and put in the Mecha Coyote, or the Solid Tin Coyote in the middle? I was going to recall it the Terror of Solid Tin Coyote, and instead of Titanosaurus, I'd have the Roadrunner in there. And that is, I'm working on now, as you can see here in Photoshop, I'm trying to do more of the mechanics of that coyote. And here, I'll show you what he looks like. Here's here he's about to run. I'll get a better one of him standing. It's not very big. This isn't very clear. That's all right. So that's it. You can see that there's something about the head with the little thing on the nose that just made me go, But there's obvious differences. Like the body is just sort of this hollow can, much like Mechagodzilla is kind of the same thing. And then this squared off head, it just made me think of it. It's probably complete coincidence because it is very different. He does have missile fingers, but the hands are kind of that block shape, which is very similar. Anyways, so I thought having it like, I was either going to call it Godzilla versus Solid Tin Coyote or the Terror of Solid Tin Coyote. If I call it Terror of, only the real Godzilla fans will get that, will actually understand the joke. And I'm going to close these for the moment because no one else will. People look at this and go, what the hell is that? So this is really kind of for conventions and off my website for my fellow friends and fans of Godzilla movies that will actually get it and get the reference to the Warner Brothers cartoon. So you have to know both. Now I'm going to open up Clip Studio Paint. I got to reopen some of the. I'm sorry, I've had some. My nose has been running all day, and it's. So let me. I guess all the layers are open. This is really a work in progress. You can see. So here's you can see where the coyote is going to go on the left, and then Godzilla here on the right, just like the original poster. And I've been copying kind of the cloud formations. I'll have the tornado. Roadrunner is going to be where Titanosaurus is, but I think I'm going to shrink him down a little bit because the colors really stand out. And just a quick cityscape, and there's a coyote in the bottom because he has a little remote control pad that he controls his robot coyote. And but yeah, I've had to make little subtle changes to tilt the head on the robot coyote, and it was easier to build it in Photoshop. Clip Studio and Photoshop are very similar, but they're very different beasts, and they do different things for different purposes. So for the most part, for the creative, artistic aspect of it, I prefer using Clip Studio Paint. I enjoy it more for that. And also, if you like making comics, Clip Studio Paint is perfect for it because it lays out your comic book panels for you, and they're very customizable. Whereas Photoshop, you've really kind of got to build all the panels from scratch. You can do it. In the end, you can do the same thing. It's just Clip Studio Paint will save you many steps in laying out those comic book panels and putting in speech bubbles and laying in your speech and that kind of thing. But anyways, this is kind of the poster I'm working on. So you're getting to see a work in progress here. And I'm hoping to have this finished in about a month or so. I'm also working on some stickers. I'm going to close this. I'm working on my Halloween stickers, and I don't know if those are all my references. Yeah. Oop. Wow. This is the template here that I've got to use for these when I go to get them printed. Now, I've shown these before. They've been all over my Instagram. I've been working on them for 2 years. Last year I was supposed to make them into stickers, but I ran out of time. Halloween kind of crept up on me so fast, and so much shit was hitting the fan, and now it's been happening again. A lot of crap hitting the fan the last little while, and so I've gotten this far. I've got to find out if the company, I think I'm going to go with Sticker Mule. I think those are the ones that do this, and see if they will actually produce it this way. So this is the what would you call it? Like, it's a plain your plain background sheet, and then each one of these heads will peel off as a sticker. So you still kind of get this cardboard thing, which I think is kind of fun. And I'd like to be able to see if there's a way maybe you can put them back on. I'm not sure yet. Anyway, something I got to look at on the website and figure out, because you can also get those stickers that don't, they're transparent, and they're not permanent stickers. They're kind of this rubbery texture, and they'll stick to things, but not permanently. And you have to be careful, because they will come off and you'll lose them. But that was a consideration, was getting something like that, or getting them like stickers like this that you can peel off. So I'm undecided yet on what to do with these. So, but this is what I got so far, and I have to kind of contact the company, I think, on Monday, and just ask. Ask if this will work, because I had to do it in Photoshop. I don't have Illustrator. It keeps giving all these instructions for Illustrator. I keep touching my nose. I'm sorry. I've have some mild allergies that keep acting up, and so I was a bit congested earlier, and I still feels kind of like a tickle in my nose. It's been driving me crazy, so I apologize for that. So anyways, here's the set of stickers. I'm hoping to have these available. Be really nice to have them in a couple of weeks. I've been off with back pain. My back gave out about a week and a half ago, and that set everything back. I haven't been able to do anything. I was laid up for almost a week, like literally lying flat. Even sitting like this, couldn't do it. Couldn't do it for real. I thought it was starting to get better last Wednesday, and I did the live stream that you saw, and I was feeling a lot better. And then all of a sudden, the next morning, couldn't get up. So anyways, I've been up and about for 2 days now. Today is the end of day 2, and I'm hoping this continues, because I'd like to go back to work on Monday night. I work part-time at the YMCA, and I'd kind of like to get back to that and get back into just a regular routine again. I need to do that. So, yeah, so there's my stickers. And I'll leave that for now. I got to get back to working on this. And I have a few things I have to still fix on. Because I can see already the head, perspective-wise, is not correct. So I'm going to start, maybe do a little bit of work on that. And I am not popular enough. There is just nobody going to be in this chat. I can see, I'm watching on my phone, and there's nobody in this. I'm not sure if it'll even get picked up on replay. I'm not sure if I'll leave this on replay. Part of it is I really wanted to keep this image kind of, I didn't want to say much about this image yet. Partially because people just aren't going to get it. I'm also a little concerned of thieves. I don't want to turn on and see this idea produced somewhere else. And that has happened. I know way too many artists who have had their stuff ripped off. This is the right way. But it doesn't line up with the body. The head can be tipped a little bit. You can get away with it that way. Something is not feeling right about this. And I'm using this as kind of a ruler. You can't see it because I'm streaming just a screen, and I've got this laid over top. And the angle of the head does not feel right. But it's got to be level. The top of the head has to be level with the snout. Maybe, I think it might be. I'm going to go back with it anyways. I'm going to stick with the level, with what it's at here. Maybe just tilt it back a tiny bit. Ooh, that's too big. Doing this rough and blue at the moment. And blue pencil. And then I'm going to go back over this much cleaner with an ink tool. But for now, I'm just going to okay, that's enough. Now I'm just going to what was I saying? Jesus. I get wrapped up in my work sometimes. Look how messy all this is under here. This is all going to be cleaned up before this gets the final go. Gets the final ink job. These eyes I've got to fix. Because you can see this eye, which is further away, is closer to the top than here. Even though it's perspective-wise, I know it's moving away, but there is still a distance problem. So I think I should probably shrink his left eye a little bit. I do have reference, and that's why I have this. And I have one. But the funny thing is, if you look at this, look how goofy the eyes are. They're way off, and I think they did that on purpose to make them look a little goofy. But here it's a little... Oh, even this one's off. I flipped this image. This is from the other direction. I'll have to fix this circle. Mouth on this. Boy, you can really see the cell painting. This is... Until they animated these in a hurry. I think they just didn't care. Because look, you look at this. I want mine to look a little bit cleaner than that. I don't want to be quite as goofy. A little bit cleaner anyways. So I'm just going to fix this this eye because it looks like that's closer to the size. That's a little better. See, I'm going to flip this one around. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Eyes are maybe a bit... See, his head's, I think, a bit shorter. My head's a bit taller. That's okay. I've done so many adjustments on this already. That's not going to be that big of a deal. All right. So a needle pulling thread. I'm going to cheat a little bit. Outline this. And it should be slid down a little bit, and it should be slid down a bit, and it should be just a tad bit wider, not much, but I feel like that eye is just a bit too narrow. So I can go into my transform, and I'm just going to put in free transform. Oh, ugh. I hate it when it does that. That's alright, that'll work. And then I just want to check the level on this. No, it's too low, I think. Yeah. It's just a bit too low. And I'm trying to just determine. Okay, so I think that's a little bit better. I think it's a bit closer. You're not going to get it perfect if you can make that out. I think that'll work, because once you pull it back and you see it in relation to when the whole image is put together, I don't think anyone's going to really pick apart the eyes that much. I am just a super fuss bucket when it comes to this sort of thing. Now I have a little bit of another issue here. Oops. I had to change the length of the arm. The arm. Good Lord. The arm originally, as you can see underneath here, I had too long. I had to shorten it a bit because when his hands fall down to his sides, they only fall to about here. If his arms were dropped completely down to the side, the fingertips would land about here. So this was too long, and so was this arm. The length of his arms in the original pictures are not that long, which is funny because you look at this and it's really stretched out. But if you look at the wide shots like this, you can see his arms are not that long. His fingers are stubby. Wow, his fingers actually come right to the top. Okay, so even this is slightly too long. I'm not gonna screw around with that much. It's for something like this is not that big a deal. So what I'm trying to figure out now is, do I want this arm? I want this center line to be a bit visible. I like it to be seen. If his arm comes straight out of here, I guess you will see it. I'm just trying to determine if I want the arm to come up here with his hand up here. It'll be just slightly higher now because the elbow's moved up. Or do I want it to come down this way with the hand down, so it's more of an uneven thing like this? Or do I want this arm up this way? And I think I'm going to do that, because it's like a kind of thing. Although this could work as well, I guess. I'm thinking with the hands up, it's more of like, like the old style boxing kind of thing, or when they come into fight, both the hands are up like that. So I think I'm going to bring this up, and this hand will be up here. And this arm, I think I'll drop a little bit lower. And that's going to be, and in fact, I think I might even do that on another level. Actually, what I should do is finish those eyes. I think I'm going to finish the eyes first, just so that this head is done. Finish the eyes and the ears, get those adjusted, and then I'll come down and do the arm. Again, this is just the rough, but it's like I have a really rough underneath. This is a second rough that is a cleaned up rough, because the other one I knew was way off. The perspective was off. Everything was off on that image. I didn't like it. So this is the new rough, and but it's cleaner, so that when I actually go in with the inking, then I'll have a nice solid clean drawing. And that the inked one will be the one that will be used in the final. I'm not sure if I'll ink it here or ink it in I might ink it in Clip Studio, so kind of I can work with it within the image. We'll see. We will see. But I got to make sure everything works in this nicely and everything is solid. He's a solid tin coyote. And let's go back to our brush tool. Make sure that's okay. So this is an oval shape, and I think I'm going to try and freehand this. Is this on this level? No, this is annoying. I'm going to try and freehand it, and I'll see how that goes. Some of this, as you can tell, like I used a ruler. This is using the, what do you call it? The elliptical tool to make the perfect circle. And I did that with all his joints. I used the elliptical tool. This one, because of the perspective and whatnot, I think I'm going to keep it freehand. And it gives a little more life, I think, when it's freehanded. Then it doesn't look as mechanical. And I want the eyes to be a little bit inset. This is tricky. I should have the smoothing up for this, shouldn't I? That actually turned out well. There's the other program. No, it's still off a bit. I have a program which is. I wish other programs had this particular feature for smoothing. Smoothing is usually with the. It's dragging behind it, so you're not getting as much wobble. Sketchbook Pro has it where you make the line first and then it will snap it and correct it afterwards, and you can adjust the amount you want it corrected after you've made the line, where this kind of does it as you're drawing the line. And I wish that feature was in another program like Photoshop or Clip Studio. Clip Studio would be nice if they had that. But I'm almost tempted to want to just take this and open it in Sketchbook, just because it'll clean that line up so much nicer. I really like it, and it's the only program I know that has it. I'm making the inside here a little bit thicker because you're seeing the inside edge of the metal, so it'll make the eyes look a little bit inset if I thicken this line just a bit. And this one. No, that's not right. A little bit more. Oops, more just to smooth it out. It'll make it look really inset, but oops. Surprised my friend hasn't phoned me yet. I may get a phone call from a friend of mine, in which case I'm going to cut it short if I do. I should actually maybe contact him. He was supposed to phone me tonight. Now these eyes, the center ovals, I really want to look clean. The angle throws this off because the oval kind of makes it either oval this way or this way, and to angle it, I don't feel like playing around with it. Can I make this look? Smoothing throws it off. Now I gotta turn that off. This has just been a test tonight, and I might not even keep this up. In fact, I think I'm going to call it here so I can give my friend a shout. My friend from London, who I've known for 35 years, he usually gives me a shout. He wanted to see how I was doing after my back was out. And should give him a shout and say hello. His left eye, which is on the right hand side, looks slightly tipped a little bit. But it's not that bad. That's okay. I think that's all right. And these ears have got to be finished. I'm freehanding this. You're supposed to be able to make a point, hold the shift key, then make your second point. It'll make a straight line, but I hate the fact that it does this. And that drives me fucking crazy. If you hold the shift key and then draw it, it just does a straight line up or left to right. It won't do it at an angle, and I have to figure out how to do that. And I don't want to use these things. I can't really... Can you use this? I don't think you can. Ah! What the hell is that? Is that also for... No, I don't know. I don't like it. Alright, get rid of you. We'll just keep freehanding this. I could use this, but this is going to look, I don't know. It's going to make it look off. I can't explain it because of the shape. I'll try it. It's a little too heavy. And this part of the ear, I'll clean that up in a minute. So if you happen to see this video and you happen to get this far, I really want to know if you are familiar with the Mechagodzilla movies from the 70s, not the 93 one, not the 2003, 2004 one, not the legendary Kong Mechagodzilla. I want to know if you're familiar with the 70s version, which is the cool one. And that's going to be a darker color when I go to color it. And I want to know if you're familiar with this cartoon, The Solid Tin Coyote. Because really, you're going to have to be a boomer or a Gen X. I can't see many millennials actually getting this. But if you are, well, damn it, speak up. I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. Because I've explained this to a few people and no one kind of really remembers it. Oh, that looks terrible. I'll fix that in a minute. Let me just get rid of that. It's fine for now, I guess. That mouth is still going to have to be fixed. I made so many adjustments to these teeth to make them look right and to get the angle correct. And they're still way off. I get the perspective of the teeth. So this tooth is across from this one. Right, this one is across from this one. This one's across from this one. But the length's different and they look messy. And they should match that. Tips should match this angle. And it's... It's still way off. I've got them like that. It's close enough. No one will know. When it's that big and that distance, no one's going to really care that much. And we're just going to save this. And I'm going to close this off. I'm going to say goodnight. And I don't know if you've been able to see this very well. I think I can see it here in my phone as I'm watching here. Again, if you watch this on the replay, because nobody's watched it live, almost 2:30 in the morning. I was hoping somebody would be in, but they're not. Anyways, thank you for watching. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask if you happen to catch it, because I'm not going to keep this up very long. So take care, everyone. Good night. And I hope to see you all again very, very soon. Did that stop?